Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're taking a look at the Full Mechanics Raider Gundam. It's a pretty incredible kit because it really does blur the line between being a full mechanics kit and essentially being a master grade kit. So let's go ahead and get into it in today's review. It's very highly detailed, great color separation, everything on it. It's awesome. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, we'll start off taking a look at the box and its contents. As you can see, this is in the vertical style format and a very large box. And I have to say, some very cool and very striking box art there featuring its very unique weapons front and center, which is cool, and then just that dark design with all the weathering and glowing lighting and color effects and stuff going on with this. So the box artwork for this one is very, very nice. The ends of the box just going to be featuring the same artwork, just with the title very large on the ends there. On the side of the box here, we have a look at what the kit is going to look like when it's all painted up and also decaled up with all the decals and everything you have included. There's the full mechanics gimmick point, all the details and everything. Of course, we have a little stand included for the mace weapon. That's going to come in handy. And then just some points about the articulation of the transformation, all that. Some of the very nice color separation looks like we have going on there. And on the other side, some more about the articulation gimmicks, the weapons, the transformation, and all of that. It looks very cool. Of course, you can combine this with the Calamity, having the Calamity riding on top, or pretty much any Gundam really, but it's just kind of specifically made for that, I suppose. But alright, opening it up here. Take a look at all the runners in a moment, but let's first just take a look at the instruction manual here at the bottom. Got that same artwork here on the front and on the back. Once again, just more information, including our painting guide, but information about the Gundam. There you've got that in Japanese and in English about the Clotho Bureau, the pilot there. No picture of him, unfortunately, but information about the different weapons and gimmicks, everything about the Gundam here. It's all in Japanese and in English, so some nice reading material if you wanted to check out some more information about the Gundam. But moving on to the inside, we've got our parts list there in the front cover as normal, and then the rest of this is just going to be going through the construction all the way until the very back here, where it's going to give you your sticker guide for where to place all the sticker decals, and it surely looks like there is a lot of them, which I won't be putting all of them on, but I'll put some of them on just so you guys can get the gist of it. First up, here's a look at the foil sticker sheet, which as you can see is just for a couple of green cameras, including the eyes, so very minimal with that, but much less so with the marking stickers here, as you've got some pretty cool ones there in red, gray, and mostly in white, with it being a kind of mostly black Gundam. Obviously you'd want the stickers to be visible. And our wire here for the weapon, which is in a gray color. We've also got runner CE1, which is going to be our clear base piece to hold up the hammer weapon. Runner A is in 4 colors. You got some yellow, some clear green, some that bluish gray color, and then some of the greenish minty white kind of color there. And then we've got all of our black armor pieces here on runner B, runner C1 here, and some of the larger pieces on there. Also got runner C2, which is going to be a copy of that with a couple of pieces over here on the side. And then runner D, which we've got 2 of these for all of our black armor pieces. Then we're getting into all of our gray frame pieces. Now, of course, this not being a master grade doesn't have a full inner frame, but it looks like it does have quite a bit of frame going on here. So here's runner E1 and runner E2, which is going to be a copy of this section of the runner right there. Whereas F1 and F2 are also going to be some detail parts, kind of frame, joint type parts, some weapons parts and stuff on there. But this is in a dark blue color. But then we're back to gray here for runner G for a bunch more of those frame type parts. We've got 2 of these, as well as runner H1 and H2 for some more gray pieces. And finally, runner I1 and I2 for some pieces here in red. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up, and if you missed the live stream build of this, in quick summary, this is a pretty amazing build. I gotta say, this is the closest thing to a master grade that's not officially a master grade that I think I've ever seen. It really might as well be a master grade, even though it is technically in the full mechanics line. And I think a lot of that is actually due in part to the transformation gimmick of this kit. So we'll talk some more about that later, but first let's take a look at the articulation and the accessories. So first up, just on the note of stickers, so the foil stickers here on the head for the eyes and the head camera, those actually cover up what is a clear green part. The clear green part inside this kind of very dark plastic is not really going to be all that visible, so that's why I opted to put the stickers on there. But if you don't, and you just want to like paint some silver in behind that clear green, that should shine pretty nicely. There's another sticker right there on the back of the head if you guys can see that, and another sticker here on the rifle. We'll see that in just a moment. On another quick side note, if you guys missed the live stream, I actually snapped off the V-fin and had to glue that back on there, so I'm going to be really careful and try not to break that because that is already broken and glued back on. Anyway, the upward articulation of the head is very nice. Again, I think a lot of that is due to the articulation built in for the transformation, but hey, I'll take some nice articulation no matter what the reasoning is. Downward articulation, it goes to about there. Here in the shoulder, we've got some nice forward swing there. Upward movement here in the shoulder, and you can bring the arms up to, let's see, looks like it's still only going to be about 90 degrees. They can bring the arm up vertically, then the arm is going to work pretty normally after that, just rotation there at the top. Double joint here in the elbow, giving you a full bend where you're basically just going to be limited by this shoulder armor there. The wrist is on a ball joint, but the wrist ball joint itself doesn't actually move that much. You're going to get your movement actually from this secondary ball joint kind of below that cuff part. So when you move the hand around, it's actually kind of below there is where that's going to move. And just like with many recent master grades, the thumb is on a ball joint and the fingers are going to be of the swappable type, so we'll have some options for those. You have a little bit of movement here in the stomach section, side to side, forward a little bit there, kind of back a little bit, but not really too much. That again seems part of the transformation as to why the stomach articulation there is a little bit limited, so kind of okay with that. As far as the skirts here, those will move individually, your front skirts, and you have some really nice color separation all throughout the kit, but I'll just point it out here. The nice red and mixed with that kind of bluish gray detail parts inside there, and obviously your black armor, and then this hole right there in the crotch, which we'll see what that's for here in just a second. The back skirts also move up and down, but those are joined together. The side skirts is where you have these big claws here at the back. Those are actually connected here onto the side skirt, and those will move around. Again, that's just for the transformation, but as they are, they'll move side to side there a little bit. The hip joint is on a track that will allow you to drop the hips down to the front a little bit, and that will give you better articulation for bringing the legs to the front. Ultimately, they are going to be a little bit blocked here by this front skirt, but you can bring the legs up pretty far to the front there, bending at the knee with that nice double joint there, and you'll notice this part here at the back actually slides down as we bend that to get that out of the way for a good full bend there at the leg. I love the color separation on these thruster bells as well. That dark bluish gray and the red parts put together, it looks really nice. Here at the ankles, like with the wrists, you have some side to side bend actually up in this part right there of the legs, which looks pretty cool. It's kind of unique. And then you got some forward movement here. This toe part is separated, so that will move up and down on its own. Bring the foot forward, point it all the way down there like that. Going around here to the backpack, these wings will move side to side. You can also rotate the angle of them, and we'll see some more of these in the transformation as well. But while we're here, we can take a look at some of the stickers. So I only put a few of them on. You have a lot of stickers with this kit, and obviously these sticker decals against black dark colored plastic are never really going to look that good. That said, they don't look too bad, but I think if you put all of them on, if you litter them all over the kit, as you have so many of them, I think they are going to probably look not that great, because you have so much detail going on that you don't really need to add that much detail by adding lots of decals all over this thing, and it's going to look like a bit of a mess, I think. So you can do what you guys want, but I would recommend just kind of going a little bit minimal with those stickers if you do want to put them on, maybe not necessarily putting every single one on, just because there is so many. And one other thing to talk about too real quick before we get into the accessories is seam lines, as there's virtually not really any on this kit. It's something that Bandai has seemed to strive for with the RE100 kits and with the full mechanics kits. Not successfully in all cases, but they do seem to really try to cut down the seam lines as much as possible with these kits, and it's also something, you know, that ideally you want in a master grade as well, but again, that's not always the case. So let's get back to its accessories. Here is the shield cannon, so it's exactly what its name implies. It's a shield and it's a cannon, and again, no seam lines on these parts, so you will have like a little bit of mold line on there you're going to want to sand, but other than that, it's nice to not have any seam lines even here on the weapons. And there's a peg here, and that's what's going to plug right onto the side of the arm. Very easy, but you can also fold down a handle if you wanted to do a handheld thing, or if you wanted to give this to like a different kit as an accessory, maybe for your Calamity Gundam, having it hold this weapon. You've got that fold down handle there, but again, really cool design on this. The little sticker there for the camera is going to be all you're going to have for color other than just kind of the main color of that. And then we've got the Mjolnir hammer, which is very cool for a couple of reasons. So number one, this little peg here, which looks a bit strange, that's for actually, again, for the transformation later on. That is what's going to plug into the front of the crotch there like that. So barring that, that's just kind of there, and there's nothing really you can do too much about that. But the really awesome thing about this is how the wire works and how the wire is stored up inside there. So as I'm pulling this out, notice how these parts right here are spinning because the wire is wrapped around a spool on the inside of there. And extended to full length, it's going to be about 33 centimeters in length, so you get a lot of wire here to work with, and of course you can form that. It's certainly not heavy enough to hold this up, and that's why we also have this included clear plastic stand for that, which I'll just say I love the simplicity of this stand, except that it's just never very strong. So I think it should be fine in this case, but I really wish Bandai would just kind of get off using these and use something that's a little bit stronger, because this is just very weak usually. Anyway, yeah, so when you want to store the wire back inside there, you just kind of turn these parts here and it pulls that in. It's very smooth and works really nicely. I don't feel like that's gonna like break the wire or bend it or bend anything inside. It feels really solid. With the Master Grade EX Unicorn, it had a kind of similar thing where you could turn apart to wrap up the LED wire for the shields, and I just always felt really nervous with it. This one just feels really comfortable and works so nicely. I really love it. I mentioned earlier the swappable hands. This is the only one we have. This is something I do find a little bit disappointing about this kit. I wish we had some more hand options. So basically this is just trigger finger hand for the right, so that's going to be your only option for the hands, unfortunately. And then we've got our standard action base connector, and then all these other connection pieces which you'll use basically again just for the transformation and all that. So that's what all these are for. Alright guys, so here's a look at the Gundam transformed. The transformation, relatively simple. It's pretty much similar to like the Wing Gundam or something, where you essentially just kind of rotate the arms around a little bit, fold the legs up, and you just kind of expand the wings, and that's about it. You do have the added step of like extending the claws out from the side skirts, but again, that's pretty simple. So as far as transformations go, it's pretty interesting, and the fact that you can pair this with the Calamity Gundam, you have those attachment parts to be able to attach the Calamity Gundam's feet onto this to make it riding it, is a pretty cool thing if you really want to try that balancing act. I don't have the Gundam here on hand to be able to try that here for you guys, but I'm sure it's a bit of a trick and it requires you to use multiple action bases, and I'm just not really into it. But what I do want to talk about is what separates the Full Mechanics line / RE100 line from the Master Grade line, and they both have really great details on the outside. They're both meant to look the same on the outside, but what really separates them is kind of the complexity of what's inside them. Obviously with Master Grade kits, you have the full inner frame that for the most part the Full Mechanics line and RE100 line kind of have to a degree, but it's usually not necessarily a full inner frame, and it's certainly not as detailed as what you'd expect from a proper Master Grade release. And that's where this kit really blurs that line, but because it's a transforming kit, there is a lot more built into the inside of this that wouldn't necessarily be required if it doesn't transform, but because it transforms, they have to put a lot more engineering into it, which essentially at that point turns it into a Master Grade. But the fact that it is just a Full Mechanics release and not a Master Grade release is, I think, basically just Bandai trying to keep these suits in the same line because they released the Calamity Gundam as a Full Mechanics kit. It would be kind of weird to release the Raider Gundam as a Master Grade kit. Then I think people would think, well, why didn't you do the Calamity Gundam as a Master Grade kit? And then with the next one, we can assume probably the Forbidden Gundam is going to be coming out also as a Full Mechanics kit. And then if they do this one as a Master Grade and then the Forbidden as once again back to Full Mechanics, it just sort of interrupts the line of these releases. So I think that's kind of the main reason why they just wanted to keep this as a Full Mechanics. And it also, the design elements are a little bit different. That said, I think just design wise, as far as like the details and everything of this kit, very reminiscent of like the Jin or the Zaku Warrior, which have both come out recently as Master Grade kits, and they're both on the very simple side of the Master Grade line, where those ones also kind of blurred the line. They almost could have been Full Mechanics releases in their own right, just because as far as Master Grades go, they were relatively simple. So it's interesting anyway, just to kind of see how these lines are getting kind of blurry between the two lines there. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think? Overall, I think it makes this kit great. I think it's a really awesome kit. It looks fantastic. The details are great. The articulation's good. The transformation is simple. Couldn't really ask for too much more if you're a fan of the Raider Gundam. So as always, guys, if you want to check out the kit for yourself, I'll have the link to USA Gundam Store down in the video description below. I highly recommend it to you guys. It's definitely worth checking out. A really great kit. And I thank you guys so much for checking out the review today. If you would also like to like or subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. But until next time, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye guys.